Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah. It's time for another free SVG in my layered truck collection. This one has been requested many times, and that is a farm animal themed truck. So hopefully this does not disappoint because there's a lot going on in the back of this truck. Not quite sure how they managed to get a horse in there, but he looks perfectly happy with the situation. This is a free SVG which is available to download from my website. Here's how to find it. You can download the free cutting file for this project at craftwithsarah.com/free-SVGs or follow the link in the description of this video to go straight to the download page. The download comes in a zip folder and you need to unzip this before you can upload the files into Cricut Design Space. Once you've downloaded and unzipped the folder, it's time to get the SVG file into Cricut Design Space. Open up Design Space and start a new project, then get into Upload over on the left, and then Upload Image. You can then either click Browse to find the file on your computer, or drag and drop it in. Make sure you choose the unzipped version of the folder, and then the file to select is the one which starts SVG in the file name. Click and drag that in, and it should look like this. Don't worry if it looks a little bit blurry, that's just a little bug in Design Space at the moment. It will still be perfect quality once it's uploaded. Press continue and then you'll go onto this screen. You don't need to change anything here, just press upload and then it will automatically appear on your canvas. You can see all the pieces by clicking the little arrow in the layers panel. There are a lot in this one, fair warning, to make up all of those animals. To resize the design, select it by clicking it and make sure the padlock icon above the width and the height box is closed. If yours is open, you can click it to close it. And that means you can change either the width or the height, press enter on your keyboard and the other measurement changes in proportion. I'll be cutting mine at 9.5 inches wide. There's nothing else you need to change, so I'm going to go ahead and press make and that will separate out all the colours of the project. You can change the paper size in the drop down here, and if you want to, you can click and drag to move things about to make the most use out of your cardstock. Just make sure when you're moving that nothing overlaps, for example like that, otherwise it won't cut out properly. You'll need to change the paper size for every single colour individually. When you're happy with how everything is looking, press continue to connect to your Cricut and then follow the on-screen instructions to get everything cut out from your cardstock. Here are all the pieces of the truck cut out and I've laid them in order following the assembly guide that's included in the download folder to check that I've got all the pieces because there are lots in this design. I think it's probably the most involved of the trucks that I've ever done. So I've got all of these, a couple of the smaller bits I've left out for now. But to stick it together, we do need to start at the bottom and then work upwards. So I need to move all of these apart in a moment. I'll be sticking this together with a combination of glue and foam squares. The glue I'm using is Barely Art glue, but I also like Kalal, and the reason these are my two favourite glues is because they don't bend or wrinkle the card like some other glues can do. The foam squares I'm using are from Dot and Dab, but any will do. These ones are actually a little bit big, so I'm using smaller ones, but this is my last pack, so I don't actually have the packaging to show you that one, but it does look the same. Okay, so now's the scary bit, is moving all these bits apart whilst trying to keep them in some sort of order so I don't lose all the effort I've already gone to. I've now got my very bottom piece and then this one to go on top, and this will be a foam square layer. So I turn it over, and this one I actually can get away with using my larger foam squares for a little bit, although this is my last pack of big ones too, so I might keep them and move on to the smaller ones. I need to order some more. I've been very busy testing out new patterns for you recently, so I'm running low. I'm putting a good amount of foam squares on here in all the little sticky out bits like the chicken and the wheels and this bit along the top. you can't really see. There you go. And the reason for adding quite a few bits of foam onto the larger bits of card is that it makes sure you've got a real stable, level area, I guess, for the cardstock to sit on. If you only put the foam around the edge and missed all of the middle bits, then you'd probably find that the card will go down like that and you won't get a nice flat 3D appearance. So that's why all of those are getting dotted about all over the place. And one more there. Now I can peel the tops off to reveal the stickiness on the foam squares. Alright, now I can stick this on, lining it up along those edges, and then I'm going to gently drop it down to check I'm happy with the positioning. And by gently dropping it, it means that if you weren't happy, if you hadn't quite lined it up right, you can pick it up and move it because it hasn't stuck down yet. But that looks pretty good for me. Remember, these wheels don't go quite all the way to the bottom of the grey, and you've got a little bit of space at the front and at the back. So it's not going to line up 100% all the way around. Next is this solid red piece, and I will glue this on. Normally with the trucks, I try to make the front of the truck the same height as what's going on in the back, so it looks even. I think it looks just a little bit neater that way. But that won't be the case on this one because there's so many pieces of card that are going to go into the back to make up all those animals. But it's still going to look lovely, even if it's not level all the way across. Put this on. So this is making up the truck front and also starting off on the chicken legs, which will then get covered up by this one, slightly darker colour, to add the detail. And this again will be glued on. Sits nicely on the top, lines up around most of the edges. There's just the space on the bonnet where it doesn't come all the way to the top, so it can show that original red through. Right, now we can start building out the animals, and we've got this dark brown layer first, which will be glued on top. This is going to make up the horse's body. Alright, so now let's do the horse's head. We'll get all the horse done in one go. Lots of pieces to it. Just laying them out in front of me to make sure I don't miss any. First, take the circle. Now, there are a few black circles that cut out. There's two small ones. These are for the eyes in the chicken. And then there's this bigger one, which is for the eye in the horse. And there's also some which are for the pig as well. So just make sure you've got the right one. And then take your head layer of the horse and turn it upside down. The black circle goes behind the eye with some glue to fill in that eye colour. Put some glue around the edge, just put that on top, and now I'll add some foam squares onto the back. Then this goes on top up here to line up. I did a very terrible job at that. Let's try that again. It lines up with the ear on the right hand side. That's better. Next is the white layer to make up the nose, and this is glued on. Then we've got his bridle, also glued on. Then the mane, another glue layer. Then after that, there's the ear and the little yellow bit to make up the buckle on the bridle. I'll just add my glue straight on there and stick those on. And that's the horse done. The next layers are for the pig. Starting with this one that has the body shape, and this one will be glued. Next is this slightly darker pink, and this one we'll put on with foam squares so we can start building up some dimension in our pig. There. Next is this piece, but just like with the horse, we need to add the black circle around the edge of that eye. Like that. And then the whole thing will get glued on top of that slightly darker pink piece. Next is his little snout. I'm going to put my foam straight on there and add the black piece first, and then glue the little tiny pink bit on top. Move that about a bit then. There we go. There's also a tiny pink bit to act as a little rosy cheek. So just a little dab of glue somewhere to the bottom right of the eye. And put that on. Getting there now, onto the chicken. And the first layer of the chicken is the one which looks like this. And this will be glued on. In fact, all of these chicken layers are going to get glued on. I've now confused myself because these two pieces look exactly the same. So I'm wondering what I've done wrong. I wonder if I've accidentally cut one bit more than once. I think I've done it wrong. I think I shouldn't have cut this bit in the white. I'm going to remove that and just make sure it's not in the file that you get. And instead, it's this red one that should go on. I think there's probably enough glue to hold that in place. There we are. And then on top of that will be the white. So the red makes up the ruffle on top of his head and his beak. But before we stick this on, just a little bit of glue around the eye and find one of the teeny tiny black dots and put that on top. You can tell that I don't test these before I start recording the video. But the benefit is, at least they do get tested when I'm recording the videos, so you know that by the time you get the file, you're not going to have any little oops moments like I just did. Right, there's that one. And then we've got the front. And there's also the wing. I think I'm going to do the wing first, so that'll get covered up a little bit by the front of the truck. Doesn't really matter where you put it. That'll be there. Then my brown, or sort of yellowy, straw-like colour. This is glued on. There. Then the pitchfork. Starting with the brown piece, another glue piece. It's a little narrow in there. Try and get glue in if you can. And then the grey bit, also glued. Ooh, just knocked my glue over if you're wondering what that noise was. And then we've got these bits to make up the back. And I'm going to glue these so that this one at the front will end up a similar height. That's the back done. Start on the front now, and to make it so that these parts are fairly level, I'm going to use 2 levels of foam squares on the back of this solid bit. So put your foam squares on first. Just 3 should do it just fine. And then take the backs off so that they get sticky. Then put another foam square on top, just to give it a little more dimension and to level it out a little bit. And there. And then glue the darker red layer on top. That actually worked out well. That's almost exactly the same height. So that is good. Hubcaps next. Just a little bit of foam in each of these. I bent one of mine a little bit. I'm hoping it won't notice too much. And there. Then we've got the decoration to go on the front of the truck. Which way round? Let's go that way round. Just Mr. Chicken at the front to go now. I'll use a foam square to put on the white bit, but first he needs our last remaining black circle around his eye. Or her eye. Probably her. Looks more like a hen than a rooster. Like that. And then the wing I'll glue on the top of there. Just in the middle. And that is our farm truck done. Definitely a lot of pieces, but totally worth it to see all of those details come together. If I tilt it round, you can see just how many bits there are in there. It looks really, really special, and it is super cute with all of those animals in the back. Now, as I mentioned at the start, I have a whole series of these truck designs for a wide range of different occasions. You can see some of the other trucks on the screen now. I told you there were going to be a lot. There's Christmas, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, birthdays, weddings, pretty much any occasion you can think of, and there's still some more ready to come out towards the end of this year. And of course, latest edition is these little farm animals. I hope you enjoyed watching this video with me on how to make this layered farm truck design. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts and free SVGs. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!